Never got to hear his last breath, and the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever in the last minutes like a track finish. I attract women, they the bad women. I'ma splash in them, leave a bag with them. Then I raise seas to be mad different. If I die now, I'm coming back in them. Cause they dad missing, but they cash dripping, cause they royalty. So they brag different.
I can't hear something. I can't hear the music.
Seen a white victim in a black witness. Mac ripping on my last mission. Yak sipping, blowing blackism. Gat missing, he was lax slipping. Smack.
Wait a minute. Can y'all hear my audio? Can you hear the audio? Let me know. We good? You didn't hear the music? Tell me that you heard the music. Don't tell me I was over here dancing by myself all of this time and y'all didn't hear nothing. Y'all heard the music? Because I wasn't talking over the music. I was just letting the music be the intro. But nonetheless, welcome to another episode of Know the Ledge. KTL Media, Know the Ledge Media presents Third Eye Thursday, episode 60. Yeah, we up to 60 already. Let's do this roll call. Oakland, of course, always in the building, and always one of the first ones in the building. So shout out to the brothers and sisters in Oakland. All right, Maryland, always in the building, always a DMV party. Shout out to Maryland, St. Louis, Ohio. All right, peace to you. All right, no doubt. Vallejo, Detroit, Louisiana, Georgia, Khalifa, California, Oklahoma, Raleigh, via Baltimore. All right. Richmond, Virginia. Harlem is in the building. Brooklyn is in the building. Illinois is in the building. SC by way of NYC. Highbridge is in the Highbridge is in the building. Denver with that good weed is in the building. ATL is in the building. Houston, Texas is in the building. Seattle is always in the building. Ottawa is in the building. Ohio, Orlando, Chicago. You dig? In the motherfucking area. Miami, okay, we hit Miami. It's litty in Miami right now. Queens is in the building. Ohio's in the building. Oklahoma's in the building. Whoever goes to Miami this weekend, send me the footage. I wanna see all the fuckery. Send me the footage. You know what I'm talking about? Let me see what's popping, because I don't think I'll make it out. I'm not going to make it out there. North Mississippi is in the building. New Zealand. That's right. The land of the long white cloud. How about that? Shout out to Ghana. Shout out to Accra in the building. Salute to Ghana. St. Louis in the building. Woo! Where's Kansas City at? Kansas City. I'm going to go on record saying that I did not know the history of Kansas was so deep. I didn't understand, the breadbasket of America, Kansas, the significance of Kansas in the whole narrative of slavery, the significance of Kansas in the whole narrative of quote unquote the Underground Railroad, the whole significance of Kansas when it comes to the Civil War. Kansas is super duper important. Shout out to my brother, the Moore, okay, who I was building with earlier, and my brother Thornton L. And Thornton L is a Moore out of Kansas. Okay, Dubai is in the building. Let me hold something. Was good, Dubai. Yeah, let me hold something. And the brother Thornton L was giving me and Blue some information about Kansas City. You know, Kansas City and Missouri, the connection between the two, with Missouri being a slave state and Kansas City or Kansas being a free state. You know, very, very interesting information. That brother will be on the show. Hold on, let me wipe this camera. Give me a minute. That brother is going to be on the show. I think he's going to be on Blue Pill's Super Bowl show. Yeah, there you go. We gotta get the drip together. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta get the visuals in order. Yeah, shout out to Harlem. So I'm rooting for Kansas in the Super Bowl. I understand what that means now. You got Kansas, the breadbasket of America, right? This is where Superman grew up at. You got Wizard of Oz, Dorothy. We're not in Kansas anymore, right? You have Kansas City Chiefs, okay? Kansas City Chiefs going up against the San Francisco 49ers, all right? So if you understand what the 49ers are, if you understand, you know, the significance of the gold rush, you know what I'm talking about? If you understand who the 49ers are, then, you know, you'll be able to put into perspective metaphorically, you know, symbolically, what this NFL Super Bowl Sunday game is going to basically entail. Because wherever you look at in the institutions of America post-slavery, right, the place where you'll see the most glaring similarities to plantation life, or what they call plantation, because in order to be on a plantation, you had to have planters there. So the planters are the people who became the slavers, and they're also traders. This is in American history. This is pre-Civil War history that we're giving you right here. So planters are the Europeans in, oh yes, 1111. All right, let's put out a meditation, an I am meditation, okay? Slow breathing. I am power. I am love. I am great. I am cloaked in abundance. The power of the I am. Get into that, okay? And if you need help, help is here. If you need assistance, assistance is here. If you need answers, then goddamn it, the question is here. So just link up with your peoples and we will help you with this manifestation and, you know, tapping in, you know what I'm talking about? Because that's something that we could, that's something that we do over here. So going back to what I was saying about the NFL, the National Football League, and the glaring similarities that the National Football League has with quote unquote slavery. I can't see any other institution, you know, post chattel slavery or free labor for that matter, that mimics plantation life other than the NFL. You know, you got your NBA, you have the baseball league, you got corporate America, but just based off of the combine alone, where they be looking in niggas' teeth and whatnot, and, you know, checking underneath their scrotum sack and seeing how fast they run, you know, all of this stuff, they got them lined up like bucks at the combine. And they selling these niggas, bro. You know what I'm saying? To the point where when they trading all of these niggas from NFL, it's like how they was trading our people who were basically beasts of burden, you know. They was the AI before AI. And I ain't talking Allen Iverson. They were the machine before there was a machine. So The NFL, where they raise you up, right? You have to be a certain kind of physical stature. Okay. You have to be of a certain type of physical stature. You have to be a buck, right? You have to be a fast running, strong, being able to take pain. You have to be a workhorse in a sense. You have to be strong as an ox, right? You have to be easy to command. Yo, you see the coach on the on the sidelines of the football team blowing the whistle and whatnot, on some John Madden shit, calling out the plays, and the niggas run the play that they're told to run. You know what I mean? Almost like clockwork. And you run that play in practice hundreds of times to the point where you get penalized if you don't run the play. So the level of programming is in the play. They could say, blue skin 22, and then that shit snaps, and then you taking off, and it's some other, it's a Hail Mary, it's a shotgun play, it's a 4-3 nickel. You see, I play I'm a Madden pro just by my lexicon. But the fact that these young bucks, right, we'll just refer to them as bucks because I don't want to degrade anybody. I'm not trying to get at no one that's playing football and trying to belittle you or anything. I just want to visually, paint the picture of the similarities that I found between the NFL, the National Football League, and the quote unquote institution of slavery. That, to be honest with you, it just ended the other day. You know what I mean? It's not like, the more that I'm doing my research, the more that I'm studying and whatnot, I'm coming across information that I might have forgotten, or it's stuff that I'm just, either I'm paying attention to it now and I wasn't before, but it's beginning to stand out to me. One of the things that is standing out to me is the fact that places like Georgia, places like Alabama, these are places like Florida, these are newly formed, and not newly formed, they were basically created in the 1800s, like the early 1800s. These are not ancient places. These places were not, functioning as quote unquote corporate states and whatnot hundreds and hundreds of years ago. No, this is a brand new experiment. These states that are highly repressive, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Charleston. I mean, the Carolinas, coming from Charlestown, right? Coming from Charlestown. Coming from Barbados. Okay. You got to do the Moorish knowledge on Barbados and the Barbary pirates and whatnot. And what is the significance of Barbados? Why was it even called Barbados? And the quote unquote slavers, or the quote unquote because you got to be careful, because you cannot just equate slaver with European. You will be remiss to say that, because that's not necessarily how this shit went down. When they say the Spanish, when they speak about the Spanish American Wars, they're not talking about niggas from Spain only. You know what I'm saying? They're not only speaking about, or if they are talking about people from Spain, phenotypically, they're not talking about Diego and them, blonde hair, blue eye, or black hair, brown eye Europeans alone. No, there were a lot of mulattoes running with them, because what you'll begin to see in white society in the 1500s, in the 1600s, and the 1700s is that they are breeding. They're beginning to breed with melanated wombs. They begin to commodify the womb. They pass laws that say that the child born of a slave woman is always going to be a slave. So they're passing down slavery through the womb, and they're passing down lineage through the father. So if the father is a slave and the mother is free, then the child is born free. But if the father is a conquistador and the mother is a captive, let's say captive, because slave is not a proper, it's a term, but it doesn't capture the entirety of the complexities of who these people are. These are captives. You understand? These are captives. When the European, right? Mostly the beginning, this we're gonna do some history right now. When the European, the Portuguese to be exact, when they struck up deals, right, with African kings, who they converted to Christianity, not all of them, but in the Congo, and one of the biggest empires that Africa had at that time, there was a king who converted to quote unquote Christianity. There was a king who converted to their version of Christianity. And in his conversion, he begins to supply his Christian brothers prisoners of war. They go on they go on raids, they go on raids against other tribes, because in Africa, one of the things that we have to come to terms with when we sit around and think that everybody is on kumbaya time, everybody loves each other, everybody was out here holding hands and rubbing lion cloths together and whatnot, and just, skipping along the Serengeti while the cheetahs ran by them and the lions bowed down to them. And that's not how that shit worked. You know what I'm saying? That's not how it worked. And the Moors did not leave that much of a mark in the area as much as the Christianized, anglicized, quote unquote, kings of the Congo and all of the other Africans who were trading with the Europeans. It is impossible for the Moors, who are the enemies of the Portuguese, who are the enemies of the Spaniard, who are the enemies of the Europeans, to do business with those Europeans when those Europeans were coming to the coast of Africa, and they were paying the other African tribes with gold, with silver, with glass beads, and with other merchandise. You would say, why did they need gold? They're in Africa. They already got gold. Nigga, they wanted the gold from Spain. They wanted the gold that they were stealing from the Americas, because Spain was extracting gold from South America, and the Africans along the coast of Guinea and whatnot, and these other areas, where the whole thing was called Guinea, but they were exchanging their human cargo for trinkets. They were exchanging their human cargo for what you would consider to be foreign, or what you would consider to be designer, or what you would consider to be quote unquote exotic, because it comes from Rome, or it comes from Britain, or it comes from Europe. That same thing that niggas is on right now with all of the brands and the labels, the LV, the GG with the Gucci, the Birkin bag and all of that shit, where you niggas is going crazy because it's coming out of Rome, or it's coming out of Italy, or it's coming out of France, or it's coming out of London. That's the same shit that these African kings was on when they sold your motherfucking ancestors. They was like, give me a Birkin bag and I'll sell you 4 of these thoughts. You know what I'm saying? From the adjacent village that we don't fuck with. And we went to war with them, and we got a whole bunch of these niggas in captivity right now. And we trying to get to the bag. So the European pulls up with ships full of rum, 10,000 gallons in some instances, 10,000 gallons of rum. And they're giving the rum to these Africans and these African warlords in exchange for human cargo. That human cargo is like if somebody went to Colombia and picked up 100 birds, and Pablo Escobar and all of them are selling bricks and kilos of cocaine for 5 racks. When if you get that kilo of cocaine across the ocean, you could sell it for 30 racks. That's the same fucking thing that's going down. It's the same capitalistic. There's a formula that these Europeans had. when you get deeper into the quote unquote the India, when you get into the trading companies, the Royal African Company and whatnot, when you get into these entities that have books, they have records, they were lining up with Aetna, they were lining up with the quote unquote insurance policies in New York, they were lining up with insurance policies in London, they were lining up with all of the insurance houses because the way that they monetize human bodies was with insurance policies and credit. They wasn't giving niggas gold. They wasn't using paper money back then. The concept of fiat and ducats and whatnot, that don't come till later. They wasn't using that as means of exchange. They was giving niggas promissory notes and credit. You know what I'm talking about? The Moors came with Columbus. The Moors were defeated at the Battle of Alhambra. The Moors were taken prisoner. The Moors were double-crossed by other Moors. If you take the time to do some research about the Battle of Alhambra, 1491, with Baobab or Bobab or Muhammad X, he gets double-crossed by a family member who aligns themselves with King Ferdinand and Isabella. So the minute, remember, people put into context a racial, a color thing, as if the color thing was the prevalent, you know, that wasn't the dynamic in the 1400s. The dynamic in the 1400s was religion. The dynamics, it was nationality, and they, you know, they hated black skin or they hated the Africans or whatnot, but it was more about religion. It was more religion based. So after the Moors were slaughtered, after the Moors got holocausted, after they genocided the Moors, after they defeated them during the Reconquista, what they did to spare their lives, the people who didn't want to die, the way that they had to spare their lives was they had to do something called convert. All right. If any of you niggas claim to be tapped into your historical ancestors' spirits and whatnot, I wouldn't have to be teaching you this shit. You're supposed to know it rather than look at YouTube all day as your source for learning, because that's not how you get this information. Either you was there or you wasn't. So if you convert, this is not even this is surface information. This is not even some shit you got to go digging for. If you convert, your life will be spared. But after your life is spared and you've converted into a Christian, they call them Moriscos, which were little Moors. After a nigga convert, that's like some of you niggas out here to bend over and let niggas stick their fingers in your booty. You know what I mean? After you lose your manhood, you're not a man no more. You understand? So after you convert, it's the same thing. They were buck breaking these men. These men, after they converted, they had to go chill with a priest for the weekend. You know what I mean? It was weekend at Bernie's. They probably had to go chill in the goddamn Vatican or something. You know, they got to go, you know, they got to go, you know, hang out in the confessional booth, you know, like a hooky party. You know what I'm talking about? And you will come out with a new name. So for the people that want to get baptized and you running your children to get baptized, baptizing them is converting them. That's what they would do. They would baptize a Muslim person, and then once your ass get out of the water, you go from Muhammad to Alejandro. You know what I mean? Alejandro. You dig what I'm saying? An effeminized, anglicized name. They would anglicize your name. So even when you read history, you think you're reading about somebody who's white because of an anglicized name, but they're really an African. They just anglicized in Bartholomew, but that's a nigga. So they converted their prisoners of wars into what is known as little Moors or Moriscos. So anywhere that you see niggas with conquistadors, or anywhere, anytime that you see black people pulling up with Columbus, Those are prisoners of wars, my niggas. That's not a fucking traitor because the war was already over at that point. They already got defeated. They already got their heads cut off. They were putting kings' heads on pikes and whatnot. They defeated the Moors in 1491. So Columbus was at that battle. He was present at that battle. Queen Isabella, King Ferdinand of Castile and Aragon. That's modern day Spain. That's modern day Portugal. And they basically got an edict from the Pope. And he told Christopher Columbus, these niggas, we broke their will. We defeated them. So they have to show us at sword to the neck. Wherever we tell them to go, they're going to have to go because they don't want to lose their heads. Like the hundreds of heads on pikes that they had to walk by every day, and the stench of all of the bodies that were burning all around them, and all of the women that were getting raped in front of them, and all of the stuff that was going on. It was barbaric what the Spaniard was doing to the Moors after they defeated them. But all you niggas could just say is, oh, there was people that was with Columbus that was, they sold us out. I'm here to say, Black people have always sold Black people out. If you think that you have an aha moment because you could point out the fact that certain Black people were willing to trade other Black people, then what the fuck? Go outside, nigga. It's happening everywhere that you look. It's happening everywhere that you look. It's a natural occurrence. Every time that I do my research on this European, he was able to whoop niggas' asses because niggas was in the midst of fighting each other. Do you know about that part? Do you know that anytime that you really look and see when we fell, it's because of the infighting. We were the ones destroying each other. And the European was either providing niggas with weapons and then he would sit back. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, that the European, go and do the research. When they were coming to buy slaves in Africa, they were sitting on the shore waiting for the wars to finish. And then when the war was over, they would go to the winning party with the bag. Be like, yo, let me get that. Give me all these niggas. Give me. Here's some rum. They was giving them guns. They wanted guns and gunpowder. They wanted guns and rum. Now they want guns and butter. The Africans wanted guns and rum. So the European was on the outskirts and he was receiving the spoils of war. Look, give me those warriors. Here, cut their hair off, strip their clothes from them, because people think that Africans like to walk around naked. That wasn't customary before. That wasn't customary in Africa. You was respectful. You was covering up your fucking your black mamba. You know what I mean? And you had certain. You were adorned in certain colors. You were adorned in certain kind of trinkets and whatnot to denote who you were. You were wearing certain kind of plume feathers, and the same thing that they came across in the Americas. People had on turbans and sashes and whatnot. They wasn't running around with a fucking bone in their nose. So in the Americas, when the European was fighting the Spanish, the European didn't go and fight the Spanish. The European had his own. He had an Indian tribe that was riding with him, and the Spanish had an Indian tribe that was riding with them, and they went to war. And the Europeans were basically like pulling the strings, but the Indians were the ones fighting in America. Do you know that? And the European, once again, remember, the European is a planter, but he's also a trader. What is a trader? A trader is somebody who trades in furs. They was getting chinchilla, nigga. Remember American? They had the American gangster chinchilla. They was trading beaver pussy or beaver fur. You know what I mean? They was trading felts. They call it pelts, raccoon tails, deer skin, all of that stuff. So they began to trade with Indian tribes. So the Indians is asking for what? The Indians is like, yo, I want rum. I want gun. You know what I'm talking about? They like, nigga, I want Indians. I want some Pocahontas. You know what I'm talking about? I want some little fucking Tontos. Yeah, bring us those niggas. And you know, whenever somebody is trying to discredit the claims of a copper tone complexion American, somebody who claims to be American from the Americas, and they feel it inside of their bones that they belong to one of the tribes that got dispossessed and got genocided by Andrew Jackson with the Indian removal, and hundreds of years before that, when it was all kind of, when you might say, yo, I feel like I'm a Geechee Gullah. I feel like I'm a goddamn Yamasee. I feel like I'm, I feel like I'm a Seminole. I got that rebellious spirit where I'm ready to scalp something. You know what I'm saying? Right now in Miami, because remember, if you do the research, the European was scared to death of Florida. Florida was no man's land for the European before Andrew Jackson and them did what they did and started clearing out Indian land. They went to war, the War of 1812. They went to war against the quote unquote, they went to war, and then they were able to take over Florida as a province. The Spaniards lost the war. Spain lost the war. The French and the Spanish War. And as a result of them losing the war, America was able to get quote unquote control over Florida. But prior to that, they were scared to motherfucking death of them Zoes and them niggas that's in Florida right now in Carroll City, right now in Liberty City. They always been there. You know what I'm talking about? They always been there. They were coming out the swamp, giving them the business. They could not defeat the quote unquote Floridian Indians and the Negroes who were running with them when it was going down for hundreds of years. Let's be clear. They created Georgia as a buffer state to keep niggas out of the Carolinas, because they was running down in Charlestown and they were running down in Carolinas, the South Carolina low country and whatnot, and they was getting super busy. The Yamasee Indians shut down the whole Carolinas, bodied a whole bunch of these Europeans, shut down a whole planting situation because they were dealing with rice, tobacco, shit like that. And they had a revolt. They ambushed them, and then they went into Florida, and then then that was the beginning of the quote unquote Seminole Wars 1, 2, and 3. The European was getting washed by them. They was getting washed by them. So why they so aggressive in Florida right now? Why they so aggressive up and down Florida anywhere you go? Jacksonville is named after Andrew Jackson, nigga. You're gonna have to change the name of the whole city to get that energy off the city, fam. Jacksonville is named after the Hitler of the Indians, Andrew Jackson. He would be considered the Hitler of the copper tone families, because he was really running down on people who look like me. And Jacksonville is named after this fucking tyrant, this devil. So look, the reason why they so hard on niggas in Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Miami, Carroll City, Dade County, you know what I'm talking about? Is because they've always been scared of them. There was a phenotype that they were in fear of. It was the copper tone or the darker skin complexion Negro who had plaited hair, locks going down his back, with a mouth full of gold. With a mouth full of gold. Right? Yeah. Seminole was used interchangeably for black or Indian or runaway slave. Remember, these are terms. Don't get caught up in the word Seminole like it's a fucking casino or something. These are terms. These are terms. Right? These are terms. So when you hear Seminole, that's just them. That's like how they would say sardines. Do you know that sardines is a whole bunch of different fish? They just cut the head and the tail off, put that bitch in a can, and they like sardines. But it's a whole bunch of different species and whatnot. So Seminoles, Negroes, coloreds, you know what I mean? Blacks, nigga, that's 100 different horses. It ain't Ralph though. It ain't Ralph. You know what I'm talking about? It ain't Ralph though. It's Ralph, US Polo, and a whole bunch of other knockoffs. And they just put it in one thing and just say horse. It ain't Ralph though. So you calling us black, nigga, it ain't Ralph though. You need to identify out of that fucking can of sardines, who exactly are you talking to? Because we're not all the same. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't all the same. We're not the same fucking people. You know what I mean? Let's be clear. And that's no offense to nobody who we're not like. But nigga, we're not the same. Just because we got melanin. That's the most retarded shit. That's the most asinine fucking shit that you could ever come up with in a world that was designed by intelligent design. Nigga, that's not intelligent. You know what I'm talking about? That's not intelligent. We're not functioning. You know, you would understand why we would be functioning on a scale where, you know, we are right now, because we're not even carrying ourselves in an intelligent description. It's not enough to say that I'm black. I'm sorry. It's not enough to say I'm a Negro. I'm sorry. It's not enough to say that I'm motherfucking colored. I'm sorry. It's not enough to say I'm African American. You're not. You're more than that, my nigga. You're a lot more than that. It's not even enough to say that you're a black or more or a more. It's not, because you have become more than that. You know what I'm talking about? You have become more than that in this 2020 epoch that you find yourself in. We a little bit more than a more at this point. So the European always banked off of our disunity. The European he was always scared of us. They were always shook daddy of our numbers getting up, because they said that we were more ferocious than they are on the battlefield. We are more stronger. We are more savage. We fight to the death, even though they are more barbaric, and even though they are more dishonorable on the battlefield. They won't stick to the motherfucking rules of battle. There is no rules in their warfare. We, on the other hand, we have rules to our warfare. It wasn't an all out. It had rules to it. It was structured. So what I'm saying is, let me clarify something about this. We are not the same. We are different tribes. We are different stocks, and we are different species. You know what I mean? Do you need a fucking hug? Do you want me to say that, you know, I love everyone? You know what I'm saying? Do you need that? Because, you know, we have to get that clear. You know? We need to know who the fuck we are and where we come from. And, you know, what is your claim to not just the land, but to everything? A alike, B alike, C alike. You know, you're going to vibrate, you're going to attract to your tribe and whatnot. But we need a stronger foundation to stand on. And I salute and I give honors to, and I just, I hail up. Everyone is digging, because keep digging. You got to keep digging. You got to keep hitting, yo. You got to keep knocking down walls. You got to keep banging down doors. You got to keep peeling back the veil and stripping the front. You got to strip the goddamn paint off the wall, because it's more to the story than you've been told. We have a lot more to learn. Let's not be arrogant, acting as if we know everything, because I'm learning every day. I thought I knew some shit. I'm still learning every day. And whatever I learn, I'm willing to share it. And I'm even willing to say, yo, the shit that I thought that I knew, now I ain't know that. I know it now. Or, I learned something new, And I'm gonna have to adjust some shit that I taught you 3 or 4 years ago because I have to add on some new information to that. That's called, you know, that's just called being a human being, because the only thing constant is change. So we're gonna change. We're gonna change our views of things. We might even change our perspective on life in it of itself. Yeah, that's a sign of growing. But I'm really adamant about the fact that, you know, if you study history, it will equip you to deal with what you see now, because everything is being repeated in a continuum. It's a cycle. Time is not linear. Time is centrifugal. So time is lapping onto itself. And when they say that there's nothing new under the sun, they were goddamn right. They were correct in that assumption, because you're going to begin to see a lot of the things that we're suffering from to this day. You're going to see it in the actions of our people, not just hundreds of years ago, 400 years ago, 500 years ago. We've been going through a lot of stuff for many, many centuries. And, you know, we've been coming up with solutions, but we're dealing with a formidable foe. We've come up with a lot of solutions, but we're dealing with a system that's been put together. And this system is not necessarily a color-based system. Like I said, this is more about religion at the end of the day. You dealing with the Protestants versus the motherfucking Pentecostal versus the Baptist versus the Catholic versus the Roman Catholic versus the Islam, the Muslim versus the Sufi. You dealing with a bunch of stuff right now, and it don't got nothing to do with color, because niggas is running around crossed up, Jesused out, and they going all the way from blue black to off white. You know what I'm saying? It's not a color thing, and it never was a color thing. So if a nigga was a Christian, he was riding with the Christians. He was taking heads for Christ. What the fuck is you talking about? It didn't matter if it was a blue black nigga in front of him. If he was rocking Islam, or he was dealing with Yoruba, or if he was dealing with Ifa, he was an op. He was an op, and they was riding on them. So don't get it fucked up. The Romans had niggas riding with them. Don't get it backward. Don't get it twisted. The same way that the U.S. Army got niggas riding with them. You know what I'm talking about? The same way that the police, the fraternal order police, you niggas is badged up. You know what I mean? It's the same way that you was running with Christopher Columbus. It's the same way that you was running with Hernando Cortez. Nigga, it's the same way that you was running with whoever. Because like I said, white men were raping, or they were sleeping, or they were buying black women, giving them babies. Those babies got sold off. Them little light-skinned niggas grew up to be the motherfucking help. They were working with the fucking enemy. Okay? Get over it. Because the child of the rape victim, the child of the mother, the child of the commodified womb is still a slave. So a slave is a soldier. You saw Game of Thrones. Grey Worm and these niggas. Remember Grey Worm, who they were castrated? They had a whole army called the Unsullied, right? And they didn't have no penises. That's an army that they took that idea, they took that concept from the Black Guard. The Black Guard was an army of Africans, 50,000 of them, fierce warriors. They were all castrated, and they were working for the Ottomans. You know what I mean? The Ottoman, there was a sheikh, an Ottoman caliphate, who basically, I think it was Suleiman, and he had an army of Africans called a Black Guard, and they were damn near undefeatable. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we are not all Moors. You damn right we are not all Moors. I just explained that we are not all Moors. You know what I mean? There was Africans. There's an African king from the Congo. There's African kings from Gambia. There's African kings all up and down the coast, the Pepper Coast, the Ivory Coast, the Slave Coast. All of these coasts, these niggas was fucking Christians. What is you talking about? Nigga, And they was selling Muslims. Fuck is you saying? They was running around slave catching Moors. Then you have Moors who was going up and down the coast as corsairs, as the as pirates, and they was snatching up Christians, and they didn't give a fuck if they was blue, black, or not. They was putting them on ships and whatnot, and they was selling them off because the concept that you're applying, oh, slavery is wrong. That concept, your post-roots way of perspective of slavery, you cannot bring that into a conversation that was going on 400 years ago. I am sorry. You cannot apply a modern day, the way that you feel in this politically correct, moist ass culture. You can't, oh, slavery is bad because Martin Luther King said it was. No, nigga, slavery was the order of the day back in the days. Okay? Human cargo and and selling bodies and whatnot. That's how it was going down like that back in the days. It didn't care about if you was that's my brother, black man. No, nigga, that ain't how it worked. It wasn't no. It wasn't. They didn't have NAACP back then. There wasn't no fucking Black Panther Party. Niggas wasn't running around the Black Tiger Party. You understand? It was tribal first and foremost. It was tribal. It was kingdom based. And then it was religious based. And then it was a lot of mercenaries out there because niggas was jugging for the bag. And then it was regionally based. It was territorial. And then let's not get into the European aspect of it where you had different families because it wasn't even nation states. It wasn't France and it wasn't Spain. Nigga, it was families. It was kingdoms. It was Game of Thrones. It was Game of Thrones. So people are applying modern day concepts of race, which is a structure, which was invented in the 18. It was invented recently. Race is a social construct that was invented recently. So why are you being retroactive and why are you trying to apply race and to, oh, it was racism, they just didn't know it, they didn't have a name for it. You're so fucking smart, right? 500 years later, you're so intelligent with your fucking Google Ford phone, right? You're just so sharp that you figured it out and they didn't. No, nigga, there was a different dynamic that was going on, and it was more about religion, and it was more about caste, and it was more about families. What was your bloodline, little nigga? Like niggas in LA be checking you niggas that come outside wearing blue. Nigga, where's your grandmother from? Fuck who where you live. Where your granny from, nigga? You know what I'm talking about? Because if your granny from where the ops is at, we gonna smoke you. That's how they run down on niggas. Where your granny from, nigga? Fuck out of here. Where your grandpa live, man? What block is he from? That's how they running down. That's how they was running down. Where is your what kingdom are you attached to? What prophet is your bloodline from? What royal house do you derive from, nigga? Who are you? Because that determined who you was. That's why you have cases of them enslaving certain kind of royalty. And they was like, hell to the nah. You're gonna have to let me go. Give me free, nigga, because I'm of a royal bloodline. This shit don't apply to me. It's hands off, nigga. I'm untouchable. I'm a made man. And they was letting them go because if not, it could start a war. It could start a war. So you were being sold out by your own people who they were selling a whole bunch. They were selling thousands of people for luxury items like they're doing right now. You could see it right now in the Mediterranean with the Nigerian mafia that's working out of Italy. They out there selling Europe is popping with African prostitutes. Are you serious? Nigga, they selling the Cash App. Yeah, Cash App. Yeah, the box is #1 in the box office. And prostitution is rampant in Europe right now, along the Iberian Peninsula. And it was rampant 500 years ago, nigga. And those same Africans, yeah, it's rampant in Dubai. Those same Africans that are selling bodies for sex and selling niggas for organs, and they're the ones who are controlling the ships that are taking migrants from the shores of, you know, the Barbary Coast, across the Iberian Peninsula, across the Mediterranean, into places along the Iberian Peninsula. What has changed? It's the same thing that they're doing. They did that. They were doing that for 500 years ago. They were doing that in 7-Eleven. They were doing that in the Carthaginians during the Punic Wars. They've been doing that. So, like I said a minute ago, nothing is new under the sun. The same things, the more things change, the more they remain the same. So this world, this reality, this simulation, you know what I'm talking about, this movie, whatever you want to call it, shit is a loop. It's still looping. It's a loop. It's a continuous loop. Whoever wrote this program, whoever wrote this simulation, it's still a loop. It's going like a loop. Right? That's how it's moving. Man, loopy. Somebody said sex sells. Yeah, that's mad deep. You know what I mean? We know that sex sells. You know what I'm talking about? Tell me something that I don't know. Tell us something that we don't know. We know that sex sells. You know what I'm saying? We know that you could get a cash app for doing something strange for a piece of change. We know that. And because sex sells, slavery was huge. Caravans, they were selling white pussy all up and down the Levant, all up and down Africa. White box was being sold, not even at a premium, because they were getting that at a discount. That wasn't the highest price of a human body. That wasn't considered to be top shelf. They were selling European women up and down the Levant, up and down Africa for centuries. You know what I'm saying? For centuries. So when you see Africans being persecuted by Europeans, know that that's a level of revenge for what they were doing to their mothers for hundreds of years. That's why they were singling out certain African countries that had Moorish populations, because they were enslaving Moors. That's why West Africans are the most people who were sold on the slave ships and brought across to the Americas by the descendants of the Europeans who were the quote unquote concubines, by the descendants of the Europeans who were the original Slavs and the slaves. That's why the Dutch played their hand. That's why the Portuguese were playing their hand. That's why the Spaniard and the English and the Irish was doing what the fuck that they were doing, because they were getting back those Muslims that was in their country, dicking their mamas and their great grandmamas down over all of those years and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're doing right now, nigga. Like they're in Africa turning. They're in Europe right now, turning that bitch brown. They're in Europe. The Africans are in Europe, chasing. They laying down everything. The white women is chasing. They on them niggas' tails, hard body. They don't even want their own men right now in Europe, because the Africans are over there doing what Africans do the best and what Africans have always done. Because they are superior, because of the genetic superiority. Nigga, you're always going to be chosen a room full of Poindexters. I'm just being very blunt and honest with you. Put us in a room with the competition and they start choosing, nigga, right off the fucking bat. Yeah, that's why they just passed Brexit. They like, get these niggas up out of here, bro. Close the borders, because you got Africans coming from shanty towns and they running up on Becky, and you know, they getting with the, you know, they getting chose by Peggy Ann and whatnot. And next thing you know, they pulling up in the Saab and they lit. They got the Adidas tracksuit, you know what I'm saying? And they in business and they're competition now. Go to Paris. Go to London. Go and check out the scene, my nigga. And tell me what you see. And it's only recently that the women, the black women from the Caribbean, because they have a very heavy white fetish in the Caribbean. And now the African women got a white boy fetish. But it wasn't always like that. They wasn't slipping like that. But, you know, 400 to 500 years of colonialism and all kind of Disney and other shit, it has, in religious, like Jesus Christ, white Jesus, it's having its effects. But it wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that. We was the top gods. It was about the match. It was about men, nigga. It was about man spreading his seed. There was roles in history that people abide by. You know, it wasn't all loose like it is right now. You know what I'm saying? So this was about genetic superior through the man. That's why men were going to war to fight. And the spoils of war is the booty, meaning the spoils of the war is the woman. You get to, if you get to kill me, you get the womb of the woman who I control, who I'm, you know, you get to take the yoni, nigga. You get the prize. The treasure is the womb. The treasure is the quote unquote reproductive womb, not just regular sex. It's the womb. It's the bloodline. It's the royal bloodline. It's the throne. That's what you give birth to, gods through the throne. So kingdoms and civilizations and empires are built off of protecting that, building for that, expanding for that, and doing everything in your power to create a kingdom, a safe place, a safe haven, in, you know, abundance, so you could continue to grow out of the womb. That's what this is about. You niggas is complicating it with all kind of other stuff, but when you take away the capitalism, when you take away all of this stupid ass shit that niggas is talking about, oh, racism, they don't like us. Like I said, race is a new concept. It's a social construct. Yes, I do believe because of the social construct, we see everything through the eyes of race now, but that's not how it necessarily was before. Because I'm not, you know, I know that we are all in a race as a race, but I'm not, nigga, I woke up late today, but I didn't wake up that late to whereas I think that everybody is riding for the race. Niggas is not race based. If this was an actual marathon, it's a whole bunch of niggas on the sideline that's not running with us. How about that? And they blacker than us. They blue black. They're not running with us. They're not running. Their race is not based off of the race. They racing for the bag, nigga. They're racing to sit on white people's lap. They're racing for acceptance. They out here sabotaging niggas in a race, tying shoelaces together and giving you spoiled Gatorade. They not riding with us. They're not trying to help. Niggas is not trying to win. They're not trying. They are afraid to win. Are you serious? These niggas will win the race and start apologizing. They're not runners. These niggas is not Kenyans on the track. Don't get it fucked up. So I know that all skin folk is definitely not kinfolk. And I know that a lot of you niggas is not running the race for the race. So that's a failed social construct. It don't work because it's not real. It's not real. It's a man-made thing. Give me what nature created. What the fuck did the Most High create? What's created in nature? How can we tell who's who through nature? That's what I want to know. Shout out to Terrain. Yeah, they love their white daddy. I'm not. I am not. I've been exposed to too much. Thank you, internet. The internet opened up my eyes to what's really going down in these here streets and in these sheets and in these back streets. So I'm not, no, this is not no race-based You know what I mean? I love my race to death. I do. But no, nigga. We got to figure something else out. We gonna have to take blood tests or something. If I'm just fucking with niggas with O blood type or something like that, I don't know. We gonna have to figure out something else to build some solidarity around versus niggas complexions, because according to the in certain Negro corners of the earth, I'm not even considered to be black. You know what I'm saying? Niggas call me yellow. Niggas will call me light skin. Niggas will say I'm mixed. You know what I mean? So I don't, this is a construct. This is not real. And then you got people that's off-white, gray, in the middle of black and white, and they'll do more, and they'll put in more work, and they'll offer more resources, and they'll die on the sword for you before a nigga who's damn near purple. So don't fall for that. That's a construct. It's not real. Figure it. You got to come to a better conclusion for some shit. But a lot of this stuff is pure lies. It's all malware. It is designed to have your system operating with malfunctions. That's what these lies do to us. That's what this false, reconstructed, revisioned history, that's what it's doing to us. You cannot see the true being. You cannot see the shit for what it is if you have cloudy vision, if you have coronavirus in 2020. This is not Bird Box, nigga. Take off of the blindfolds. You understand? Put some goggles on and look at this shit for what it really is. So it's imperative. Did you know your history? You know what I'm saying? Or a segment of it. Just know that everything that they taught you half truths. You know what I mean? If you want to go with that, nigga, you've been taught a half truth. So that's my purpose. That's what we here to do. We here to give you the motherfucking truth. We're here to give you the truth, not the half truth. We're here to give you we're here to give you more pieces of the truth. I'm not going to say that we're going to give you all of the truth, because who the hell knows what all of the truth is. But we're here to give you a perspective and a narrative that is going to open up your eyes to see the shit for what it really is. This is about clear vision in 2020. This is about seeing this shit for what it really is. This is about experiencing life as it really supposed to be experienced, not the shit that they told you, go to work, pay your taxes and then die. You know what I'm saying? No, this shit is bigger than that. It's about traveling the world. It's about raising these babies up. You know what I'm saying? It's about being iconic. And it's about putting forth 100-year plans. So you could, you and your children's children could manifest that reality, and you have something to live for. And that's just one little, that's just one parcel of it. That's just one parcel of it. It's not the whole thing. Look at the situation that we are all trying to heal from, that we're all mourning from. Because you could say that I'm not mourning. I don't know, that Kobe shit don't mean nothing to me. He wasn't for black people. Once again, a basketball player whose lane is basketball, it would be remiss of me to ask Kobe to save me. It would be remiss of me to wait for Shaquille O'Neal to, help change my community. it would be remissive of me to, you know, expect Michael Jordan to just jump in my affairs and make life easier for me. These niggas are basketball players. They have one job and one job only. You know what I'm talking about? All that other shit that they do is not their lane. The lane that they occupy is jumping in the motherfucking air and entertaining us for 4 quarters and 4 periods, and, you know, showing us how to be exemplary athletes, and then you apply that to everything that you're doing. Nigga, you want to get your strokes better in the bedroom? Well, watch Kobe play, nigga. That's Mamba mentality. Don't give up. Don't drop the ball, nigga. Keep, keep that handle going. You know what I'm saying? Hold on to the rock, nigga, as long as you could go. Take as many shots as possible and score as many points for the night. You see how you do that? You take what somebody else is doing in their lane and you put it in your lane, and you apply that mentality to what it is that you're doing. And I tell you that it'll never fail. It'll never fail. Like I said before, I learn from fools on the internet every day. You know what I'm saying? I make it, sometimes I even make it priority to go see what the fools is talking about. I go chill I go right to the barbershop and I pull up and I immerse myself in foolishness. You know what I'm talking about? Because I could learn from these foolish niggas. On Vlad TV, every day there's a fool to learn from. Every day. It never fails. On World Star, maybe not. But on some days on World Star, it's some foolish shit that I can learn from. So if I'm learning from a fool, my nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Imagine what I can learn from somebody who's considered to be intelligent. But Kobe was, in my humble opinion, and he's not necessarily of my generation. You know what I'm saying? My generation is Michael Jordan. Kobe represented, he's an icon to a generation, y'all. You know what I mean? He's an icon of what a winner is. He's an icon of what a competitor is. He's an icon to what somebody who is considered to be a silent assassin, a tactician and whatnot. You know, people who have a sweet science to them. He's somebody who, black men in particular, because it's you know, most of us grew up playing the video games. Most of us grew up watching the basketball religiously. Most of us, you know, basketballs more than football. You know what I mean? Nothing to take away from the football niggas, but you heard early in the program where I was comparing these football niggas is like, you know, these are the bucks on the plantation. You know what I'm talking about? When you really look at it, like this is how they held on to their institutions. They gave up the plantations, but they kept the leagues. They started the leagues, and the leagues make them more money than the cotton field did. You know what I mean? It's an improvement. It's the same fucking structure. These niggas is insured, right? They insuring their bodies. The NFL and the NBA get billions of dollars from financial institution just based off of the niggas that they have on their plantation and the money that these niggas generate with their sweat equity. These niggas got brain injuries in the NFL. Running around, these niggas' brains is jello and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? These niggas is like rambunctious fucking runaway bucks when they get off of the plantation. Like, look at Antonio Brown. Without a white coach, without a nigga to put him on a leash, you know what I'm talking about? That nigga's rambunctious. You know what I mean? He needs white zaddy to sit him down and control him. He's like an out of control buck. He's like a wild stallion, nigga. Not Mag. He's not Meg the Stallion. He's Greg the Stallion. You know what I mean? And he's been reared and groomed by white grown men all of his life. That you know, like Marshawn Lynch, you know, beast mode. I was at the MLK thing a few weeks ago. Him and J. Cole and Ryan Coogler. I was in the audience watching these niggas. I was outside trying to get a picture with that nigga afterwards. So I was listening to everything he said. And he basically said the same thing, like, yo, these white men is like our fathers. These white men grow us up, and these white men throw us away, and these white men don't teach us how to do anything without money, and these white men are responsible for us, and these white men make billions of dollars off of us, especially when you win in college football and coming through the league and whatnot. You gotta, and then everybody don't make it to the NFL. It's thousands upon thousands of niggas trying to make it in, and they just take a selected few niggas into the house. So that's some motherfucking slave shit. I'm telling you, in the main slavery states, Baltimore, New England, you know what I mean? Chicago. I mean, all of these different states have historical references to melanated history, FBA history, ADOS history on this land. Kansas City Chiefs. Go and find out who Kansas City is. Washington Redskins. Like, it's all right. Tennessee Titans, Houston Oilers, Houston Texans. It's all in front of your face. They're telling a mythos. They're telling the American story every Sunday. That's why the NFL is bigger than church on Sundays. Where's the bomb? Somebody let that shit off. Boom. That's why any given Sunday, the NFL took over the power of the church on Sunday, because this shit is still a living story. Cleveland Indians, it's a living mythos. It's a living theater. It's a living story. It's still tied into the quote unquote atrocities and the genocides and the Holocaust that took place on this land that no one has been avenged for. No rectification, no nothing. Niggas is asking for reparations. You need atonement as well. We need atonement. We need statues to come down of Confederates. We need plantations. Give me the torch. Let me burn the fucking plantations. We need certain plantations to get grazed from the land forever. We need the foundations to be pulled up. We need bulldozers to dig up the unmarked graves and do proper burials. Niggas just want to check. There's so much spiritual work that needs to be done on this land so the motherfucking energy of the land could come back, because the whole land is cursed. The whole land is cursed. You know the whole land is cursed. And the whole land is cursed is because the people who are here now don't know anything about that, quote unquote, who they are, what they mean to the land, what land did they come from. And the nigga who you might be laying in bed with, Lil Nas X, is the same person who took your great-great-grandfather's scalp or his head or his penis and put it in a jar. And now here you go touching your toes for his ancestor, and he's putting it in your jar. You see how that thing works? So we still, you don't have the right to be like, I just want to love anybody. Love is blind. No, nigga, Stevie Wonder is blind, okay? And he still could see. He still could see through the bullshit. Fuck is you talking about? There needs to be some kind of rectification. There needs to be some level of atonement. They need to give back some of the toys that they took from us before you talk about you want to play in a sandbox with them right now. I don't know what you're talking about. Your ancestors are going to curse you and your fucking offspring if you keep moving like this retardedly when you got Google, nigga, when you got YouTube, when you got Blog Talk and all of these podcasts. You could learn something today. You don't got to be willfully ignorant and keep moving around society like you don't fucking know nothing. Like you don't realize that everything in the media is lying to you. From the news, the daily news, the nightly news, the talk shows is lying. The radio is lying. Clear Channel is lying. The movies in Hollywood is lying. Netflix is lying. HBO is lying. The school system is lying. Your pastor is lying. Your preacher is lying. Your archbishop is lying. You understand? Your mama lying because she was lied to. PBS is lying. MSNBC, Fox 5, motherfucking CNN, Showtime, everybody's lying. And I'm not talking about Mufasa and these niggas. And it's just a handful of people that's really giving you the truth. And because it's not backed corporately and we don't have stamps on us and we're not contracted to some small hats. Because if I signed a contract with a small hats, niggas would jump on the sack real quick and start, oh my goodness. You know, you get supported. People will be calling you up. I want to invest in you, Brother Red. I've been watching you for 800 years. I think it's time to make a move with you because now a white person is into me. Now that the Europeans is on my tail. Now that you see white zaddy is fucking with me, then you wanna, you know what I mean? Then you wanna hold my hand. No, nigga. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And I already know the play. I might troll niggas one day and say, yo, I got signed to Tidal, or I got signed to Revolt, nigga, or we got signed to CBS News. You know what I mean? And just see how niggas just switch up. But here you, like I said, you got people that's telling you the truth. And because the truth is free and because the truth is in the public and it's not where you have to pay $1,000 to come to a seminar to hear the real shit. And you're not being charged for this. You're not being quote unquote, nobody is making you, you know, you don't have to take an oath to hear this information. 20 years ago, you had to get beat down before you even got into rooms where you heard shit like this. 20 years ago, you had to wear a fucking blindfold and sit in a coffin for a few hours and contemplate all your sexual exploits before you got information about how you God and you come from the womb of a fucking God, my nigga. That's a fact. 20 years ago, you would get your ass whooped if a nigga pulled up on you. We're on this is Third Eye Thursday. On Third Eye Friday morning, nigga, on the way to school, if you couldn't recite what you heard tonight, you would get your snot box knocked out. Niggas would knock a tooth out of your mouth. You would get stomped out. You know what I'm talking about? What's the science of the day, God? Go home and figure it out. That was the rites of passage that made men who the fuck they became. Because I don't know what's out here right now. I don't know what I'm seeing in these streets right now. This is not no fucking men. You niggas on your little Nas X shit. And just to show you that we live in a bizarro world, and just to show you that the people are so finicky and fake, and just to show you that hip hop is dead, right? Look how this works. Back in the days when the South was getting booed in New York, when niggas was stunting on you niggas in Atlanta and, you know, wasn't giving y'all niggas no credit whatsoever and telling you niggas, you know, take that monkey shit off, you were embarrassing us. Like, we wasn't jacking nothing. We wasn't jacking no down South shit. In Atlanta, they started Outkast, Goody Mob, right? But then there's a brother who came out of nowhere and came out with a joint called Ain't No More Playing in GA. This was around the time where Louisiana was popping, okay? When Louisiana was the shit, when No Limit was the shit, when everything that No Limit put out was a hit. And there was this nigga named Pastor Troy who told motherfucking Master P, you not gonna come to Georgia and disrespect us. Ain't no more playing GA, nigga. And I was on a run and I was living in Atlanta around that time. And I saw niggas who was mad quiet, didn't have nothing to really fucking, you know, niggas had pride and whatnot, but they didn't have an anthem. And he gave these weak ass niggas an anthem to become the buck niggas that they are right now, to become the lit niggas, the Black Hollywood that it is right. There would be no Atlanta without Pastor Troy, you weird ass niggas. And because this nigga said something about Little Nas X on Twitter, I witnessed niggas from Atlanta not say nothing. And I witnessed the whole Twitter. A bunch of niggas is probably living in Atlanta right now, getting their toes painted. I watched these niggas disrespect Pastor Troy, bro. I watched these niggas run Pastor Troy off of Twitter. Because he has something to say about Lil Nas X with the moist shit, looking like a fucking slave, looking like a eunuch. You know what I mean? Looking like a boy toy. Looking mad weak in the middle of a war at the Grammys. Looking like somebody's fucking slave. Because that's exactly what you niggas look like sometimes. You niggas look like the weakest niggas in the room. And it's not time for all of that because it's a war going on outside. How dare you niggas pull up around white people looking moist and whatnot with broken wrists and shit like that. And they out here washing niggas up and they don't take you serious. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. It's a time and place for all of that shit. You niggas want to walk around the streets with your Billy Porter lampshade hats and whatnot. What is that doing? What the fuck is that doing? How is that helping us any kind of way? It's a war going on. If it wasn't a war going on, we could have another conversation. It's a war going on. So if you running around, if it's wartime and you niggas is code switching and breaking your wrist, you basically waving the white flag. You saying you don't want no smoke. Are you dumb? Like, what the fuck? Are you dumb? You don't know? Like, are we supposed to play stupid? Like we don't know how this shit goes? You're showing that you're scared. You're showing, no, we're in an information war. We're in a culture war. We're in a biological war. We're in a quiet war. Are you serious? We're in multiple fronts. We're in an economic conflict. It's multiple things going on multiple fronts. We're in a psyops. There's a fear campaign. There's a fear campaign. They have our people crippled in fear. And when they put fear on you, you're going to act moist. When they put fear on you, you're going to buck. You're going to fold. If you're not built like that, you're going to fold. And every time I see niggas walking around looking other than that, not in a proper persona, I'm like, damn, bro, you looking like you folded. You niggas is look. If I was on the other side, I would be like, I know how I would feel. So we not gonna play dumb. Them people feel mad comfortable around you because y'all don't pose no threat. That you're not gonna do anything because you trying to cut. You trying to cut. You trying to skeet, my nigga. You're not thinking about anything else but that. You're in your lower self, hard body. Yeah, you can't see me because I just put this banner up. Fear of a Black and More Messiah. That's the upcoming lecture next week. Let me teach you. Let me give you this information. Let me share something with you that I know that you're going to need to navigate through this quote-unquote calendar year. Look at January. What happened to January? What the fuck? Where's January went? Can I have January back? Could somebody tell me what happened in January? The month is gone already. So, and inside of this month, a whole bunch of shit already popped off. So we doing this lecture February 4th. I mean, February 9th. That's next Sunday. I need the family to pull up and support. I need a few hundred people to be in this lecture. This lecture is going to be private. This lecture is going to be for ticket holders only. This lecture is going to be live streamed. You'll be able to see it the same way that you're seeing us right now. We're going to keep it very simple. But it ain't going to be something you can log on to YouTube. You'll receive you'll receive an email, and you'll get an invite, and you'll be able to come and see it. Especially, you'll have a special invite. You're allowed one guest. You're allowed one guest. I'm not going to be all, you're allowed one guest. Bring a guest in. So The Eventbrite link is right there in the description. Or you can make it simple. You can send $20 to the Cash App and send me your email. $20 to the Cash App and your email, and you in the building. All of my Patreons, you don't got to worry about nothing. All of y'all are free. I'm sending y'all a ticket so y'all could come and be there. You're going to be my guests, all of my Patreons, for all of the support that you've given me over the year and whatnot, over the months. I appreciate each and every one of my Patreons, because by being a Patreon, you're being a patron. And by being a patron, you're telling me that you believe in what I am and what I do and what I'm out here putting in work for. And not only are you telling me that, you're showing me it, because you vote with your dollar in this capitalistic society that we live in. This is not Wakanda, and this is not the fucking, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is not the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? This is America. You know what I'm talking about? So this is a capitalistic structure. This economic structure is capitalism. So you vote with your dollar, not with the thumbs up. I could give a fuck about a like. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't really mean shit right now to me. The like is cute, but I done released enough dopamine for the day. I don't need it. You know what I mean? What I need you to do is vote with your dollar. Because I remember the ones who vote with your dollar, I remember your names. You know. It's where it's on the internet. It's a live stream. You know, it's live and direct. February 9th. I believe at 8 p.m. to midnight. It's going to be from 8 p.m. to midnight. So if you want to be in the building, pull up. Even if you can't make it that night, it will be recorded. Everyone who is in the building, you are going to get a link. You're going to get the download of the show after the show is over, after the lecture is over. You'll have a copy for your viewing pleasure, your research pleasure, and you know, and things of that nature. You'll be able to have the copy of the lecture forever. So, you know, let's make that happen. I look forward to sharing the information that I'm learning. All of the slave stuff that I've been doing a whole show, I'm including some of that in the lecture. It's Black History Month. So I'm here to break some of the chains, lift some of the veils, give out some of these red pills, wake us up to some things that we might not be woken up to. So, and like I said before, this whole thing with the Ukraine, this whole thing with the president being impeached, dealing with the Ukraine, you have to go and do the research on the Ukraine. The Ukraine is one of the first governments of the 21st century that was basically, there was a coup d'etat and white fascists, white neo-Nazis took over the government in the Ukraine. The Ukraine is a white nationalist government, and that white nationalist government invigorated European white nationalists in what do you mean where what do you mean where? I don't understand. The Ukrainians were invigorating the white neo-Nazi groups in America in the years of 2016, 17, and 18. Okay, and they were the ones that were basically breathing life into these groups that you saw pop up in Charlottesville. They built a connection with the Ukraine. They built a connection with Russia, but mostly with the Ukraine. They have white supremacist groups that are going back and forth to the Ukraine. So the simple fact that the president, who is a white supremacist, who is in bed with the Ukraine, Giuliani, who is in bed with the Ukraine, and many other quote-unquote white supremacists are in bed in Ukraine, for the simple fact that that's this era's new Watergate. I'm going to break down in the lecture exactly what's going on. I'm going to show you the receipts. I'm going to build out the case to explain to you what is happening. These neo-Nazis in the Ukraine are speaking about carrying out what is known as the Reconquista. So what you see going on with Brexit, which you see the radicalization of Brazil, the radicalization of the Ukraine, the radicalization of Poland and Warsaw, the radicalization going all across Europe right now, where these different white nationalists are holding hands, building networks, connecting networks. The massacre in New Zealand, the massacre that took place where they killed the one that took place where they had these manifestos. All of these manifestos that are coming out, the manifesto that was put out by the murderer, the mass murderer in America, the networks are all connected. But of course, mainstream media is not going to tell you right now because they're deliberately late to the party. They're deliberately late to the party, right? They're deliberately late to the party. And they deliberately give you fake news, and they deliberately lie to you, and they report about shit 8 months after it's over. So they're not going to tie in no connections. They're not going to say this is what it is and that's what it is. That's what we're here for. You know, the New Zealand thing was a Mossad spy ring, but you got to remember what I'm talking about is Mossad. If I'm giving you neo-Nazis and I'm talking Russia, you got to include Israel in there because there's no it's not they're not separate from each other. They're all working together, bro. On that side, they're all working together. The neocons, yeah, the evangelicals, Mike Pence and them, right? The evangelicals, the ones who are working with Israel because they want to fulfill biblical prophecy. Evangelical Christians, the Pentecostals, the ones who are in control of the Caribbean, the ones who are in control, they have their fangs deep in Africa, the Pentecostals, the evangelicals, the ones who have people of African descent who are they're being persecuted in Brazil, they're being persecuted in Haiti, they're burning shrines, they're killing off shamans. And before I go any further, I want to send a love and light and rest in peace and condolences to a brother out of Atlanta territory. All right. My brother, Zen the Shaman. His name is Zen the Shaman. He made transition. So I want to give a love and light and a rise and power to Zen the Shaman. You know what I mean? That was a good brother. I came across that brother 2011 and 12 when I was in Atlanta, and he'd been on his journey and on his mission. So yeah. Idi Amin was trained by Israel. Yep, he was one of their operatives. He was one of their operatives. This thing is intricate, man. This thing is intricate, and like I said, some of them they move along religious lines. They move along religious lines. It's not a color thing. That's why these people they got these missionaries. That's why they're able to go into Africa and sit with kings, and they will murk you. The white man will point to you, and the Africans will come and chop you up. You know what I'm saying? They not over there playing that kumbaya color shit. Don't ever go there with that mentality, because you'll get rocked to sleep quick. You will get your bell rung quick. Them niggas will give you a wake-up call like this. You go over there with that with that hands across America shit, with that we are the world shit, with that my brother shit. They're gonna show you what that my brother shit is about. They rocking with niggas who's praying to the same God that they praying to. If it's some Allah shit and an Arab points you out, and they running down on you, bro. If it's some Jesus shit, the missionary points you out, them niggas is coming down, they running down on you. They not all that other shit is out the window. You go over there with your hotep shit, they gonna hotep you up out of there. So yeah, that's enough for tonight. I'm not gonna go crazy, but that was enough information, I'm getting back to my books. You know what I'm saying? I'm reading, doing my research, I'm getting my lecture together because that's my contribution. You know what I mean? That's the best thing that I could give to the world is content. You know what I mean? That's why I have a library of lectures that I've been doing on my own without promoters, without waiting for people to believe in me and book me. But for those who do believe in me, salute to all of y'all. Shout out to, let me throw this up there before I get out of here. Shout out to my brother in Connecticut, Facts 2020, February 22nd, 2 to 7. This will be a visual presentation, live and direct. You know what I mean? One of the few presentations I'll be doing this month in live, in flesh. The majority of them I'll be doing online. But Black History Month, Facts Initiative, all solution-based right here. Private information right here, not public information. You will never hear this information on YouTube. You will never hear me talking about this on Instagram. You won't hear me giving out information about this on Facebook because it's private. It's for private individuals. It's for quality of membership. You have to be a member to get this information. This is not for the public. Okay? So you could be on a live stream or you could be there in person, but be there. Be there. Don't, yo, Ray, what? I heard that y'all were talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're talking about. February 9th. All right. Online. This will be online. And this right here will be March 21st. I'm going to be with my brother TH3RD, who will be on the show, I believe, next week. The master teacher, TH3RD. So we can begin to promote the Moorish Summit. I will be speaking at the Moorish Summit. I have a segment, an hour and a half, dealing with metaphysics. All right. And that's March 24th in Delaware. Okay. March 24th, 21st in Delaware. And for Juneteenth, I am going to come to the Carolinas. The Carolinas. I will be in the Carolinas, North Carolina to be exact. For Juneteenth, it's going to be explosive. A whole weekend. You're going to have information and performances. That's going to be lit. Like I said, the more I study about the Carolinas and the Gullah and the Geechee and, you know, Charlestown and the Barbados connection, I'm lit. I'm very interested. I'm hyped. I'm going to come with some real good information to plug some people into some real solid foundations of truth. So yeah, with that being said, I want to say thank you for everybody who has supported us over the years. Your support means everything to us. You know, like I said, we don't have super chat. We don't get checks from YouTube. Anything that's being funded is being funneled through Cash App or whatnot. That's how we receive our thank yous. That's how we receive our support. This whole, you see this shit is looking real clean right now. That's because of y'all. Thank yourself. You know what I mean? This is from the users. This is from the quote unquote students who give back. So I just want to say thank you for everybody who has given back, because the reciprocation is a showing of appreciation. You know what I mean? That's what keeps us inspired to go hard like this and to teach and to not give up on the people. Because, you know, when you're not getting supported and when people are not giving you the appreciation, when they're not reciprocating what you're putting out, you'll say, fuck that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? You'll be like, whatever. I'm going to just keep this to my circle. I'm going to keep this to my circle. Where is the Carolinas event? I'll have that address for you this week. I'm going to have the flyer and everything for the Carolinas event this week. That's going to be the Juneteenth weekend. And I believe we're looking for vendors as well. It's going to be at an event space. It's going to be at a nice spot with some land, on some land. We're going to be on land. So we're going to have opportunities for vendors from the whole Carolina areas, Georgia area, and all of that to pull up and come and shop with us and come and shop your items and your whatever it is that you do, because this is about commerce for everybody. We want everyone to eat. So stand with me and I'm going to stand with you. All right? Love and light. Peace.